Morning, Dan.
Morning, Gary.
Well,
Thanks for your willingness to do this at the last minute. Appreciate it.
oh yeah, no worries. I was excited that I could get to it. It was early enough in the morning that made it possible.
Great.
Can you hear me all right? The headphones
Yeah.
on? We're good? All right. Sweet. I like your background. You've gone as inside as I went outside.
Oh, okay. I know I should have went outside. Yeah, that would have been better.
That one, your background accurately conveys how the last 4 months have been. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, you jumped in at a crazy time, huh?
Yeah, it was. I was super psyched, and it's so cool that you guys are doing this and for free, and it's awesome. We have gone. Beth and I were trying to count out how many moots we've been to, and I think it's been 8 or 9. So we've probably been for close to half of them, and we hadn't been for a couple years. So we were excited to come back this year, and then when it was free and all online, we we're like, it's even icing on the cake. So
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we want to support obviously K-12 and obviously HSD1 K-12 as much as we can, as long as with East Helena too. So.
nice.
Cool. I'm going to make you the host.
Oh, okay. Sweet. Perfect.
So you should be good to go.
Yeah, it looks like my screen sharing is all set. Yeah, awesome.
So you've been training a lot of teachers?
Yeah, we did a ton of training. It's funny when we went virtual, when we went remote in March, we had a huge number of teachers that had outstanding PIR, and so the meetings were planned, but we couldn't really do them all virtually. And so in addition to wanting to help people get through and do their best at remote learning and maximize that class situation, there were also a lot of folks that were like, just I need to get enough PIR so that I can wrap up the year. And so we did a bi-weekly, not bi-weekly, and twice a week session every afternoon on the tech tools that we were using, and we had a really high volume of folks, getting everybody up to speed, and it was fun. So, and Flipgrid is probably my favorite of the Microsoft tools. We're all Microsoft districts, so we do everything on Teams, and we're really digging it. So it's fun.
Great. Yeah, you guys just transitioned from Google to Microsoft, what, like last year, the year before, or is that?
No, we've been Microsoft for the last,
okay.
Probably 6 or 7 years. Well, maybe it's probably been more than 8 years now, but ever since Pat started as our IT director.
Okay.
But it's funny, we hadn't really had in terms of consistent use of our platform, there was never really a reason to insist on consistency. And then all of a sudden there was. So now our build out became a little bit more important.
Yeah. And did you guys, I heard a rumor that you guys checked out all these Chromebooks and then you said, just keep them to the students. Is that true?
We did. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we checked out about 3,500 Chromebooks to students in March and April. And then we got to the end of the year and we were like, well, okay, so we could collect these and then redistribute them in the fall, or we could, leave them, and then there's the chance that, and we left our, we left classes open in Teams and left our Clever logins enabled up through August 1st. We were like, well, even if one kid logs in and maybe does a few activities that their teacher left for the summer, it'll be worth it. So yeah, so that was good. And then we also, we're going to distribute a huge number of them in the fall too. We're going to actually what's going to approximate a 1-to-1 here in the fall. So
wow,
we'll have even more out.
Did you guys purchase a whole bunch more then?
We did. We got a bunch on order. We'll see when they get here.
Yeah, that's the kicker right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a little dicey, but yeah, I think we're waiting for 2,800 Chromebooks and 700 or 800 laptops. That was our other problem, was that all of our teachers had desktops. I think we had one school or 1 or 2 schools maybe that had laptops, but that was it. So yeah.
Yeah, tough.
Welcome, Tamara. Welcome, Sue. Welcome, Becky.
Good morning.
Welcome, Jordan. All right. We're close to 8 here, but I think we'll wait another minute-ish. Links back in order here. All right. Good morning. I'm going to sort of assume that everybody can see me. So if that's not the case, throw something up in the chat so that I can know that, and we'll help with the screen sharing issue. My name is Gary Myers. I'm the Educational Technology Coordinator for the Helena School District here in Helena. I'm super excited to be presenting at the Moot this year. It's I believe it's my 9th Mountain Moot, although it has been a couple years since I was here. But I'm a huge fan of all things Moodle, and also now, as we all are, maybe not a huge fan of remote learning, but a huge remote learning participant. So I'm going to, normally I would start off a session with a quick go round of introductions, but we're going to do a Flipgrid activity that works well as an introduction here momentarily. So I'm going to hold off on that until we get to that first Flipgrid activity. So I've got a couple of orientation sort of sessiony things, and then we're going to dive right in because I think we'll have a full 50 minutes. We've got a lot going on. By the end of this session, you should feel very comfortable with Flipgrid, using Flipgrid in your class. It's a super cool tool. I'm very excited to share it with you and have some conversations about Flipgrid. So starting off, I have a short woo clap here that we'll go with. Let's see, I wanted to try one of these out. Super cool tool. So I think you should be able to see this on your screen now. The woo clap on here, you have to open up another browser. It's wooclap.com, and then this one is mootflip. That's the code for this particular woo clap. So we'll let everybody get that typed in. So open up a browser, click on the URL, type in www.wooclap.com and then mootflip, or you can use that handy QR code that I'm hoping is showing up on your screen. Looks like folks are figuring it out. We've got some participants in here, so that's good. Anybody has questions, put them in the chat, or you can just unmute and ask if you would like. All right. We're up to 5. It's not a huge session, but that's all right. It's 8. It's early. I know. All right. We're about halfway there. We got about half our participants here in our WooClap. So again, wooclap.com/mootflip. My attempt at humor, I guess. URL humor. 7. We're getting close. I'm hoping I'm going to launch here when we get up to 10, maybe. Looks like we've got about, yeah, we're getting close. So let's go ahead and launch. If you have not quite gotten there, don't panic. We'll leave the questions up for a little bit too. Just kind of a short introductory fun activity here. So we'll go ahead and start. So what words best describe how you feel about recording videos of yourself? So one word at a time. Enter videos that describe your feelings about recording videos of yourself. I suspected that there would be a number of strong feelings. You can enter more than one word. I know that sometimes a single word does not adequately convey how you're feeling about a particular topic. Awesome. This word cloud feature of WooClap is really cool. I'm super psyched about it. This is a fun way to share results from an interactive activity. Nice. So we got a very large awkward, and then a lot of other ones. I'm glad to see fun in there. That's exciting. Getting more comfortable. That's good. Avoid at all costs. Nice. Self-conscious. All feelings. I must say that I completely identify with all of these feelings. I have been through this full gamut. I've been using video in the classroom for a long, long time, and have gone through all of these at various stages. Excellent. We got a lot of fantastic responses. All right, next question. So this next question, we'll do another word cloud. For this word cloud, though, I would like you to think about how your students feel. So put yourself in your students' shoes. How do your students feel about making videos of themselves? Excited, nervous, awkward, untrained, intimidated, YouTube star. Nice. Engaged. I like it. Avoid. Nice. We do have the gamut. Important to remember that not all students feel the same way, just like not all teachers feel the same way. And we don't all feel the same way in the same moment, right? It could be you feel one way one day and then the next day you feel different about it. So I totally get that. Awesome. All right, so we have summarized that quite nicely. I think there's a little bit of a different vibe. A lot of kids are very excited about it. And either they're excited or they feel, there are some kids who feel very awkward about it. They don't like to do the video. So there is kind of a gamut of things there. And I think with video and with feedback, we're going to be talking about Flipgrid. So I want to kind of share a little bit about, what Flipgrid is, why it's important. And so the message that I think I have for you here on Flipgrid is just there's this kind of this idea of recording short videos socially and using them for interaction, wildly popular. And the idea of interacting that with feedback, I think a lot of sessions have talked about the fact that it's not really about the tool specifically, it's about how you're leveraging it for the classroom. And I think my favorite thing about Flipgrid, the reason why I think Flipgrid is so powerful is because the good folks at Flipgrid, now Microsoft, have figured out how to really focus in the tool so that what you're getting at is the interaction, and you're able to integrate it super effectively. So without any further ado, I want to kind of dive into Flipgrid, and we'll start working this way, which just highlight kind of the easy use for this tool and how it goes. So, all right, I'm in the class, the Moot here. There is a resource for this class. The one that we're looking for is this first one. It's called Positive Thoughts Topic. If you click on that, I'll kind of show you what's going to happen here, so we can kind of walk through this together. And we'll do this first, and then we'll start our sort of guided tour of Flipgrid from an educator sense, so that everybody can leave today being able to do this effectively. So when you click on that Positive Thoughts topic, it's going to open up this next session. Oops, and actually I should have done that from the other way. It's going to ask you for a code in order to, and I'll pop that up here in just a second. I'm going to clear a couple things off my screen here. There we go. So in order to access this grid, when you click on it, it's going to ask you for a flip code, and I'll pop that flip code up just in a second so we can get folks started on making this. You will have to, it's actually up here at the top right, you can see it, but we'll get it larger here in just a second. There is a way for you to do that. So when you go to Flipgrid as a student, there are a number of different ways that you can log in. In order to edit videos, you're going to have either a Google account or a Microsoft account. Viewing videos doesn't require those things. You can actually get in that way if you've made a public grid, but in order to edit videos, you're going to need to log in with one of those two things. I'm assuming that everybody will have one of those two options. If you don't, you'll have to sort of be a spectator for this portion, but I think that will cover most people. So the flip code, let's see, we'll pull that up so everybody can see it here. Let me get back to this. I lost my links here. There we go. All right. There we go. And let's pull up this first topic. And let's make it larger so everybody can see it. So what we're looking for here is this. Oops, that was not what I want. So you're going to type in flipgrid.com. If that link doesn't work for you, and then you'll need this code here, 4E77BADB. The grid itself, I made a handier share link on, but for this one, it's just that quick 4E77BADB. You can share the whole grid, and I have another link to that, but for this particular one, this is the code for it. So you'll need that to get into this grid. When you do that, let me kind of pop over so I can show you what that looks like, so you can work on, so you can add your first video. So when students log in and they get to the grid, they'll see that screen that was just pulled up before, which is this one, positive thoughts for the fall. And then down here at the bottom, there are two responses. I have these in here, but what I'm going to be asking you to do is click on this big green plus button that's over here that will allow you to record a response. So what you'll do, you'll click on the big green plus. It's going to open up the login screen where you'll have to choose one of these two things. Like I said, Google or Microsoft, either one of them will be an option. In my case, I have a Microsoft account, so that's what I'll be using. So we'll log in that way. Google works the exact same way. It doesn't make any difference. Now, I'm not going to allow this to use my camera because I'm using my camera for sharing for the session. You will need to allow that when that comes up so that you can then see yourself on your video to do the recording. So you'll allow that, and then your session will start, and you'll have a big green or a big red record button here in the middle where you can record your session. It will let you record it multiple times. At the end of the recording session, it's going to ask you to do a quick selfie, which you can just, take a quick picture of yourself. There's some fun stickers and stuff that you can add to that video also. But so that's what I want to do. I want to take the next, let's say, 5 minutes and give everybody a chance to record a positive thought for the fall. The limit on this video recording is 15 seconds. So it is a very short recording. If you have technical difficulties, I will be here in the meeting room so I can answer those questions. I'll keep the chat open, but I would like everybody to go in and record a 15-second positive thought. When you record your positive thought, give us a quick introduction since we kind of bypassed that part of the session at the beginning. So give us a quick, your name and who you are, and then give us your positive thought about the next school year. And I know that can be a challenge because there's a lot we're focused on. There's a lot of anxiety out there, but we'll go with a positive thought for next school year. I'm going to get my chat open in case there are questions. Yes, and yes, I can put the code back up. You can do that easily. In fact, I will do this. I will put the code in the chat so that it is easier to get to for E77DADD. Let's make that everyone for E77DADD. All right, so we have the code in the chat so that you can see it. I was trying to think of a way that I could show this process in case anybody's stuck. I don't think anybody will get stuck too badly, but just in case, we will walk through the process over here.
Hey guys, think about it. All fall, we still don't have to wear pants. Best semester ever.
I love it. So we'll go through this process again really quickly.
Yeah, I should have muted myself.
That's all right. I love it. So you're going to add a video. For some reason, my iPad cannot remember my Microsoft login. I don't know why that is. There we go. And try and sign the Flipgrid. There we go. All right. So now, if I can flip my camera around. Oh, this way. There we go. So now you can see what the record button looks like. I'm Gary Myers. My positive thought for the fall is that I'm super excited to go back to interacting with teachers and students. So can't wait for that to happen. Pause that. I can replay it if I want to review it. I think this looks pretty good. And I got to take my selfie. Terrible at selfies. You can decorate your selfie a little bit if you would like. Maybe we'll put up a smiley face emoji. That's kind of fun. Put that over here. And then move it on. Ask me for my name, and then I can submit my video. Looks basically the same in the browser as it does in the app. And the fact that there's an app also brings up the fact that students who download the app can use that flip code and log in, and then you can leverage all of the fun things that can happen with a camera that's flipped around and facing the other direction. And I've got, there we go. Congrats. And then when I'm done, I can click to return to the grid. Oh, we're starting to see some videos. Nice. Awesome. I love it. Everybody is way better at selfies than I am. All right, it looks like we have got quite a few videos up here to share, so I'm going to go ahead and pull some of those up so we can kind of see what this is looking like. We're going to turn my sound on. There we go. Maybe not. Okay, I'm gonna minimize my chat here. Okay. So in the grid now, I got to reload this so that I have the current version. Now you'll notice you start to see the videos that other folks have added in here. Now I want to point out that in this, we got 14 responses. That's awesome. Props, folks. I do want to give you a couple seconds. I hope that after you finished your video, you took a second to listen to a few of other folks' positive thoughts. For this video, I had it set so that as soon as you record your video, it goes online. In a minute, when I walk through the educator interface, you will see that you can adjust all those options. So if you want to curate the videos before they go live, that's a possibility and absolutely something that I would recommend when you're working with students. A couple other things that you should know about Flipgrid as far as the videos go. They also have a really aggressive AI that goes through and monitors student comments, even video comments, etc., so that those they try to filter out cyberbullying and other negative comments, and it's pretty good that way, and it will give you flags and warnings that way and block videos that it feels are inappropriate. So it's a good tool. Also good, always curating your responses, I think, is always something that I would recommend, just because that, you know, it's meant to be an interactive tool, and so working with students that way, I think, is important. So I'm going to pull one of these up really quickly just so you kind of have an example here.
I'm Gary Myers. My positive thought for the fall is that I'm super excited to go back to interacting with teachers and students. So can't wait for that to happen.
I can also scroll through this screen easily. There's Dan.
I'm excited about teachers using interactive technology in the classroom for the first time to engage everybody. And I think that we might have some classes outside, which is always awesome. So looking forward to that.
Do that. It just does it. I don't know. Are you guys not? You may not be seeing that because it's in a pop-out window. I just realized that.
Good morning. I'm Tammy Taylor from Billings, Montana, and I teach elementary.
So a couple of videos to go over there. Now I want to get into the Flipgrid educator interface. So that's where we're going to go next. All right, let me back it up here and get to...
I'm excited about teachers using interactive technology in the classroom for the first time to engage everybody. And I think that we might have some classes outside, which is always awesome. So looking forward to that.
Show up. So I'm super glad that that was there. Okay, so you may want to...
Good morning. I'm Tammy Taylor from Billings, Montana, and I teach elementary library.
Pause those so we're not just hearing that in the background. All right, there we go. I should also say, kind of laughing at myself, that we're a Microsoft district, and so we have been using Teams events. And can everyone hear me now? Is that, now that I've closed that, maybe I need to close that other video tab completely? Is that working? Yes, good. All right, good deal. So good. Glad to hear that. I was wondering how I was going to balance that the microphone between those two things. So excellent. Glad to hear that. And thank you. So, you know, like I said, we're a Microsoft district, so we've been using Teams events and not Zoom as much. So this is kind of new and fun for me. Anyway, so Flipgrid interface, and you may want to click the link and go to Flipgrid, click on educator login. That's where all of this fun starts. Again, you use your either your Microsoft login or your Google account to log in as a teacher when you log in for the first time. And if you want to take a second to do that, you certainly can. Don't feel like you have to do it right now. You can do it later. It's kind of up to you. But there are a lot of very cool things that can happen when you're logged in as an educator, and I'm going to go on kind of a brief tour of those pieces. So the Flipgrid educator experience, what we just looked at was the student experience. Super easy to share those codes. When you set up a grid with topics, you can specify how you want the grid to work. For this particular grid, I just did a public grid so that all you needed was the code to get to it. If you want it to be restricted to just students that way, we can do that by email. So you've got a lot of options. So I want to talk about your kind of basic Flipgrid setup and what this sort of looks like. So the screen that you can, actually go back one screen to my overall Flipgrid screen, and we'll go back to my grids. So there are two things to know about in Flipgrid. The one is grids, kind of that's where the name is, and a grid is just a collection of videos on topics that students have recorded, you have recorded, So you've got your grids, and then within each grid, there are topics. So the grid that I created for the Moot is here. It's the Mountain Moot 2020 grid. You can see I've got a few other grids that I use here. You can have a grid per class. You can have a grid per area within a class or type of domain. It's kind of just, you know, organizational tools and how you pick to use them. Within each grid, then you have topics. And each topic is the collection of videos that you're going to put together for students to put videos in. And Flipgrid, there are just it's so easy to record the videos that you very quickly get a massive number of them. And the cool thing about this is that it very easily allows you to manage and deliver feedback and do all kinds of cool stuff with those videos. So grids this way, topics next. Now you'll see that I've added the topics here at the bottom. I want to kind of go through that process and just show you what it looks like so you can know how really, truly easy this is. So I'm going to add a new topic. And when I go to add a new topic, all I've got to do is give it a title. So we'll just call this test topic. I just want you to see how super easy this is and how super poor my typing skills are. This is where you type your questions. So what the students are going to see, you're just going to say, you know, whatever your recording directions are. Recording directions here. All right. You get to specify how long you want the recording to be. For that video that we did this morning, I used the shortest possible time, which was 15 seconds. The longest video time that you have is 10 minutes. I have found there is a massive amount of power in the shorter videos. And when you know, cognitively, when you require students to shorten and condense and summarize and really focus on their design of the video, it really helps the content. So you can kind of determine what you want that to be. If you're doing just a fun topic where you want kids to share something, you know, you maybe don't have to do as much of that. But if you really want to focus it on, you know, how long it'll take, and practicing through the video once or twice yourself kind of gives you an idea of whether you've got too long. The default is 1 minute 30 seconds. I have found that 9 times out of 10, I'm selecting something shorter than 1 minute and 30 seconds. I very rarely will select something longer, only if I have a specific project in mind that I know is going to require a lot of narration. But generally, I want my videos to be shorter than that. I don't think that I've ever used anything over 2 minutes. And my wife, who teaches middle school math, kind of same boat. I don't think that she's ever used anything longer than 2 minutes, and she uses Flipgrid a lot more in the classroom than I do. So it's out there. So, all right, video moderation. This is what I was talking about earlier. If you check this box, turn that on, then any new video is going to require you to see it and validate it before students are able to see it. So I didn't have that turned on for the positive topics, so those went straight out. They were visible immediately. If you have the video moderation turned on, you're going to see those and have to click approve before other students are able to see them. You can then add a, oops, that was a mistake in your window. There we go. Now I clicked on the topic, so let's go back. All over the place there. Sorry about that. All right. You can add a focus down here. You can either record a video, you can upload images. This was the one that I did for this particular activity. You can just search through the Giphy URL. So if for example, you wanted for the positive thoughts, I just had typed that in. And then it will show you a bunch of options where you can easily find something that's kind of a stimulus to go with those. And there are a lot of them to choose from. So you can do that. You can add your own if you like, but you have a lot of options as far as what you can do. You'll also notice that you can pull things from other places. So if you have a Wakelet that you want to connect to give students information that way, Adobe Spark, Newsela, there's a lot of options for other things that can be connected to improve the options there. Now, other things that you can do, you'll notice I clicked more options down here at the bottom. If you want to give students some information on how to respond, so the way that I've seen this used for a lot of teachers is they'll specify, you know, use a clear voice, keep your back straight, face the camera, any tips that you want to give students for recording a better video. Then we come to sort of the assignment portion. If you want to add external document links, so things from Google Docs or OneNote can be added here. All you need is a URL and a title, and you can add a variety of assignments. So if you want students to look at a set of documents before recording a video, and you can have URLs for those, you can do those in here. You can make your assignment as complex as possible. There's a lot of complexity that you can add there. You can determine whether you want this topic to be shown right away or hidden. You can make it active for a specific amount of time if you want it to sort of sunset itself and go away. And the reason why I wanted to open this specifically is so we could get down here to the bottom for video features. So there's a lot of things in here where you can customize how the recording is going to look and what the student experience is going to be. So you can determine if videos are allowed. So if they are able to turn around their camera if at work, or are we going to only do selfies here? You can also determine if they're allowed to edit the clip afterwards, if you want them to give it a title, if you want them to be able to include external links, if you're going to have students turn in documents or something. I've never done that, but you could have them turn in a document with that. The two that I want to kind of call your attention to are down here on the bottom right. This one, which is off by default, is likes. And the likes feature basically means that when students are looking at each other's video, they can click on them to like them. I turned that off by default, and it is turned off by default. You can turn it on if you want that feature. You know, feeling like it just, students have got enough experience generally, I think, with social media that like part, I think, adds an element that's not necessary here. So I generally keep that off. The student to student replies, that's a super powerful way for students to respond to each other using video. And so there are, obviously, you can imagine many situations where you would not want that to be the case, but you can also envision situations where you want to increase the amount of student talk that's taking place. And so you can do that with student replies, which is super cool. All right, then the final thing here on the bottom, which is, again, probably my favorite part, not my favorite part, I think I've said like 3 things are my favorite part about Flipgrid. You can tell that I'm fairly enthusiastic about the Flipgrid. One cool thing about Flipgrid, one cool research-based thing about Flipgrid, you know, from Hattie's research, depending on how you feel about Hattie's research on visible learning, and a couple other feedback things, that a couple other books on feedback. I was going to put them up. Maybe I'll put a link in the Moodle later to some of my favorite feedback books. Feedback's kind of a personal interest topic of mine, and I've loved the power of feedback in the classroom and leveraging it. I've done a lot of work and research on that. So with your feedback, the one that's on by default is this kind of basic feedback where it's going to give you a quick 5-point rubric for ideas and performance. And it just does that by default. You don't have to use it, but it's turned on by default. But cool part, you can customize the feedback. So if you click on custom feedback, add criteria, you can define what you want your rubric to be and how you're going to score it. So you can decide if you're going to do a points-based scoring rubric. Comments are always possible as well. But if you want to use scoring and give students numerical feedback on whatever that looks like for you. So maybe you're looking for how they applied a concept that you had done in your class. Maybe you're looking for their presentation skills. There's a lot of different options, and you can fully customize those in the interface so that you're getting the type of, you have the ability to enter the type of feedback that you would like, excuse me. So all of those, when you create your topic, you can do a lot of power. You have a range for your topic, can be anything from just one like we did, which is just a short sort of get to know you kind of question, into a much more detailed and focused type of video interaction. And on that note, I kind of want to move into the some of the other parts of Flipgrid here at the top, which I really want to talk about. I'm going to skip over mixtapes for now. I will come back to that in just a second. The next thing that I want to talk about, though, is the Flipgrid Disco Library. So I'm going to click on that. The Disco Library is a collection of topics that the Flipgrid community has put together to allow you to kind of search through it and find ones that might be useful in your classroom. And there is a massive amount of really, really cool features in here and really cool curated content. One of this, they're sort of highlighting this one from the Met. If you click on that, it's a good example. So these are all topics that are related to art from the Met. And you'll notice on here that each topic has an age reference and a recommendation. It also tells you over here how many times it has been used. So I'm going to click on one of these just as an example, so you can kind of see what this looks like. So this one is about making mummies. here's the art, and they get a little bit of information and then directions for what that would look like. So you can kind of see how that topic works. Now, the coolest part about this is I'm flipping through the Disco library. I'm looking for something to use, say, for a bell ringer for my class this week, just something short. I can select the grid that I want to add this to. So if I'm going to add this to the Mountain Moot 2020 grid, I'll just click that, and then I'll click add, and then it's going to put that, give me a chance to edit that for myself so I can change the title if I don't want it to be the same. I have the same exact recording options that I had before, so I can turn on the video moderation if I want. If I feel like their time is too long, I can edit that. All of the other options that I had, I can do all of those things in here. Click on update topic, and now in my grid, Mountain Moot 2020, there's my making mummies that I pulled straight from the Disco library. So you can get a huge amount of already designed and created content that is really awesome. And the thing I think is super cool about this is that then to add your sort of personal touch to it, you can go ahead and record a video and open that one up so students can see it, so then they get an example as well. So then it's interactive in addition to pulling in some of that cool content from other folks. So in addition to these topics that are at the top, there is a search at the bottom. So you can search by audience. So for instance, if I was looking for higher ed topics, use that to higher ed. Subject area, maybe I want to be looking at something in the business category. There we go. So these are all higher ed business topics that folks have put in here. Let's see, we'll find something interesting. Let's see. Here's one on acing an interview. And again, topic focused. They're really interesting just to kind of see what sort of things other people are doing. There are not very many areas where it's not possible to find some sort of applicable video for your content area. So I'm going to do middle school math. This is an area that is sort of a personal interest to me, and so that middle school math. There we go. And then you can see I've got a lot of middle school options just for math, symmetry, fractions, all kinds of different options and things that you can add. And again, the process of adding them is so ridiculously easy and customizable that you can very easily see what this one looks like. This one's just very short, adding with Flipgrid. Must be super clear and in English, interesting. And then so add that, and then it's in my grid just like that, super easy. So that's an overview of grids and topics. Now I want to talk a little bit about the recording interface and different things that you can do. And by way of doing that, I'm going to need to switch sharing here in just a second. But actually, before I get to that, I said I was going to skip over mixtapes. I should go back to mixtapes while we're here in the educator interface, just to kind of show you how that works and what the point of that is. So let me go back to the Moot and to the videos that we made this morning. So positive thoughts. All right, here's the videos that we did. So now I'm going to pick on Dan because I know that he won't mind. I don't want to put anybody else on the spot. But so let's open up Dan's video here. So I'm in Dan's video. I'm not playing because when it plays, I think you can't hear me. So let's see. I'm hoping that everyone is still able to hear me. If you can, and we've got a couple of questions in there that I'll address in just a second, but yeah, okay, good. So I wanted to talk about this interface really quickly, and then I'll answer a couple of the questions that I see have popped up in chat. So yes, all right. So when I open up Dan's video, you'll notice this is what the teacher interface looks like. There are a huge amount of things that I can do in here. As I mentioned before, you can also switch back and forth easily between various student videos.
Good morning.
So you can just toggle back this one screen. It's all right in here. The grading is right here. So I can go ahead and edit these. I can give Dan points for ideas if I want to, for his performance if I want to. I can also type comment here. Great video. I can put those comments in there, and then Dan will see those as soon as I share them. If you want to, if he goes into the video, he will see the comment as well. If I want to email it to him, I can as well. You can also copy it if you want that link to be sent somewhere else. But it's very easy to just type it in here and then have your students look in there for the feedback as well. So super easy to give students feedback and respond to them. I can also record video feedback here if I want to. And again, I'm using my camera for the session, so I'm not going to click on that. But if I click on that, it's going to pop up the same video, editing video, and I can record a response to Dan if I want to give him very personalized feedback that way. Super easy way to give individual video feedback to any topic that way. I have the ability to sort of edit what this looks like because this is the grid that I created. So if I want to vibe, if I want to give it like a sort of a metacognitive searching category that all the students can sort of look under and see, I can do that here. I don't do that very often, but it's kind of interesting. And then I can, the other thing that I kind of wanted to get to, the mixtapes, the point of that, you've got a button for that. So I can feature it, which means that it's going to kind of highlight it for students and move it to the top. I can also spark it, which is going to mean that it's going to create a topic that's going to use this student's video as the topic resource. So let's say that I had students, do a video on a question they had on something that we were reading for class, and one student had a super insightful question that I thought would generate good responses from other students. If I spark that here, it's going to pop me into the topics creation screen, and then that student's video will automatically be the focus top for that particular topic. So you can take and just build your content in on itself as you go, which is really cool. And it's also a super way, I should say, to positively call attention to a great student video or example that you had in your class. The last thing that's on here, this mixtape option, if I click on that, add it to mixtapes. I only have one mixtape. I don't use this particular account for curation, but what a mixtape is a mixtape is a collection of videos from multiple sources. So what folks use mixtapes for is curating collections of student videos to share with parents. So it's like a digital video portfolio. And without going into this too much, because it's really hard to visualize when you're in a remote session, but ways that I have seen this used that are super cool and powerful, you create a mixtape, and then the mixtape can be, you can access it by a QR code. So you can take those QR codes, print them out, and then when parents scan them, they automatically will see the videos that you have curated for a particular student. So it's a cool way to organize videos that way. I'm going to take a quick pause here and answer a couple of questions that I see have popped up in the chat. So I want to make sure that I've addressed these before I move on to the next section. Let's see here. So Whitney was asking if there was a way the student can know the video length. It does say that in the video recording screen. It tells you, the running timer will show you how long the video can be. And then the video moderation will, yes, so it will alert you if you are in Flipgrid, right? So it will show you that you have videos that are waiting for you to approve them. It doesn't, it's not like constantly pestering you, but yes, it will show you if there are videos within a topic that are waiting for you to approve them. And then the approval process is very simple. You just click a checkbox and you can approve them in bulk also. All right, if you choose to record a video, is that you doing an intro to the question? Yes, I think that was with the topic creation. I can back up to that quickly. So if you are, there are two ways that you can do it. I mean, you could record a video just as a part of it that you then allow students to see, but you can also, when you create a topic, let me go back to the grid itself and then do a new topic. When you add a topic, you can also click record a video here. I think that's what you're asking about. And then if you click that record a video, it will let you record basically the prompt for the topic. So if you didn't want to use the, that little positive thoughts Giphy that I had put on there, you wanted it instead to be a video of you presenting the topic or giving hints about how to record successfully. Those things you could all do in that record a video section. If you record your videos in other platforms, I mean, there's direct links to Spark, but you can also have videos from YouTube or other places where you've got your video stored. There are a lot of different ways that you could add those prompts to the content. All right, let's see. And yes, the focus is where you're going to want that. Moving on into feedback questions. Once graded, comments left by teacher. Oh yeah, so students can generally see, the way that they see the comments is by going back to the grid and clicking on the video, and then that's where they go to see the feedback. You can also email the feedback to them directly. Students will log in using emails when you create the grid that way, and actually that would be a good thing for me to show off that I did not. When you add a grid, so for instance, let me add a new grid here very quickly. So if I'm going to add a grid for a class, so I could just call this, period 2 math Myers. And you can notice on here that the types of the grids that I can create, if I click the first one, that's going to be a school specific account. So it's going to require students to log in with either a Microsoft or Gmail account. So if you do that, it's going to limit it by domain. I'll show you that here in just a second. For that, the one that I did really quickly on this one was just educator learning community. That was the grid for the moot, because with the code, it's public, anybody can get into it easily. But if you want to limit that by creating a school email account, it will limit it only to your students. You can also click school ID, and if you do that, you can then upload a list of student IDs to join the grid. So if your students do not use Microsoft or Gmail for their school email, you could also create Flipgrid accounts by student ID upload just from a spreadsheet, CSV. You can upload accounts that way. It's another very easy way to create them. The one limit, and there are not very many limits to Flipgrid, Flipgrid, which is a free tool, and I should say the Flipgrid folks have also committed to keeping Flipgrid free. So it's not going anywhere. They've got a great team, and it's all they're very committed to keeping it free. The one thing that is some, and oftentimes when you have free things, it's limited to a number of topics or grids. This is not. It's like you can have as many grids and as many topics as you want. The one limit that there is with the student ID accounts, you can only upload, the limit I believe is 250. So if you're going to upload students individually, you can only upload, I think, 250 student IDs. There's no limits to grids or accounts in the free account for school emails. You can have as many there as you want. Also notice on this flip code, I can edit this when I create it the first time. So if I want this grid flip code to be something customizable, I can do that. So I could just call this, oops. Probably shouldn't delete the whole thing. I can call it, let's see. Keep deleting the whole thing. All right, we'll try that one more time. So I'm just gonna not delete the whole thing this time. We'll call it Myers period 2. So you can give it something, you can make it a code that is a little bit easier for your students to see. And when you're going through that process, the school email, oops, I didn't call this one a name. So here we go. The next step on this one, when you're creating a student account for mails, you'll notice that it specifies here, where do you want the domain to come from? So in my case, this is actually not going to work because our students in Helena actually are not from the Helena Schools domain, but are actually from Helena Students, helenastudent.org. So you get to specify where accounts are allowed from. And then once you've specified that, it will only allow folks who are trying to log into the grid from that domain access to that particular grid. So that makes the student sign in and access super easy and easy to manage as well. All right, are mixtapes a way to string together a group of videos? Yes, mixtapes are absolutely a way to string together a group of videos. In particular, it allows you to string together a group of videos to show off a particular student's work. So it's just another way to organize videos, which is really handy for if you want to, like I said, if you want to curate a collection, like a digital portfolio of videos that a single student has done, you could do that with your mixtape. There's a lot of different things that you could do, a lot of applications for that specifically. All right, so let's see. I got it. We got a few more comments. I want to make sure I have addressed all of these. Who sees the feedback? So individual students see the feedback. And you can make, if you sort of highlight it, you can, it is possible to sort of, like I said, feature a student's work. So if you want other students to see that, you can do that, but the feedback is for individual students. Let's see, there are no limits to the number of grids or topics that you can create. Yes, you can enter multiple school email domains for remote teaching. So I did that with my MTDA class. It is possible to, in a grid, add multiple domains. So if you've got students from various schools that you want to be able to access it, as long as you enter all those domains, and you can customize that after you've created the grid as well. So you can do that for sure. Let's see. The image that comes up for the opening grid, like you have a cat in your own grid. Oh, yes. So when you add a grid, for instance, so let's see, we'll just do another educator learning community grid. You can also password protect grids. I didn't do that for this grid because it's not really necessary to have a password. Once you've got the grid ready, we'll go to it. And then if you want to edit it, you can just click the pencil. And then in the pencil, it's possible to edit the video. You can also oops, nope, I'm in a topic. That's not what I wanted to do. I gotta go back to the grids. Here we go. Clicked on the wrong pencil. There's the pencil for that. So you can click on the pencil for that, and you can personalize the image that the grid has. So there are some default ones that are in here. So I had that cat was one example. The texture, I use that sometimes too. But you can also upload a file if you want your own video, so that your grid has its own sort of banner style title to it. Interfacing with Google Classroom, Trisha's question. It interfaces well with Google Classroom. There are share options where you can link things directly to Google Classroom. Also interfaces well with Moodle. I mean, you can put it's very easy to generate the links, which can be pulled into Moodle. So you can link to Flipgrid directly from there, just on a URL basis. So I've done that many times. That's a very easy way to pull things into Moodle. Also interfaces well. I don't know if anybody's using Microsoft Teams, but it interfaces well with that. You can add tabs specifically. And you probably noticed on there earlier, when you're creating a topic, you can pull things directly from Google document files. So there's a lot of interface and interplay between the two. It is a Microsoft product, but I have found it to be very friendly with Google Classroom as well. So I think that's a good option. And one thing, and I'm kind of rapidly running out of time here, but one other thing that I want to point out very quickly, we didn't do, in a short session like this, we don't have a lot of time to do a ton of overview videos, but I call your attention to the fact that when students are recording, they are able to, there's a little whiteboard, you may not have noticed it, down at the bottom of the recording screen, there's a little button that allows you to turn on the whiteboard. So you can not only record yourself,
working for an hour and a half.
also record I'm gonna stop sharing here.
On the computer.
But there is a way that you can, if you click that whiteboard, it allows you to either use your trackpad or a stylus if you're on the
I have it on the computer now.
other device, so that you can very easily record video, not only of yourself, but of yourself solving a problem or illustrating a situation, drawing something. You have that option for whiteboard as well. A couple things that I put in the Moot link that I would call your attention to. There are 2 user guides in there that if you're looking for more information on Flipgrid than I've given you here in this short session, pull those up. They will take you in depth in a super user-friendly, educator-friendly way. There's also a link to the upcoming features that Flipgrid will be releasing starting in August, some tweaks to their camera interface. They're adding things like graph paper, other ways that you can interface and draw in more powerful ways. So I want to thank everybody for hopping into this very fast, but I hope very helpful overview of Flipgrid. I feel very strongly about it. Please contact me if you have any additional questions. I'm happy to help. And again, thanks for attending the Mountain Moot. Happy to see all of you folks here. and had a great time in the session. So thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoys the Wes Fryer keynote. I've known Wes for a long time. He's great. And I hope you're having fun mooting it up and earning your moot coin and all those great things. So enjoy.
Great job, Gary. Thanks. And everybody fill out your stuff on Moodle, get moot coin. So fill out the evaluation. Thanks.
Awesome. Very cool. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Had a good time.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye.